Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're back with another episode of Death Battle. I've missed quite a few, but this one in particular I definitely had to check out, only because it has two of my favorite anime on the list here. Now, right off the bat, I'm not going to be choosing the popular selection here. Hiei is my guy for the win. I know it's not a popular belief, but it's not about popularity. It's about the character's skill and abilities. Well, I know there have been a lot of arguments that I've seen so far about Sasuke's Sharingan and the Rinnegan and how powerful he can be, but I realize a lot of those persons are not educated on how powerful the characters in Yu Hakusho universe is. He himself is an S-class demon. An S-class demon is planetary level, right? And it was said, I believe they mentioned it in the anime, that I think it was Sensui that said it, that an S-class demon on the lower scale, with only 20% of its powers, could actually shake the entire globe, right? And he is at the very top of the S-class category, right? So he by no means is the lesser of the two here. And one of the things that I hope they address, but I know they're going to ignore it because we have to suspend our beliefs to kind of make things work. But he is by definition a demon. No, a human cannot go toe to toe with a demon, exchanging blows just like that. It's not something that happens in the Yu Hakusho verse unless that human is has high spiritual power. It just can't happen. No, spiritual power doesn't exist in the Naruto verse, so there should be no way for Sasuke to just trade blows. It would be as if Sasuke there was a tailed beast. Say, for example, the nine-tailed beast took human form but still maintains his physical strength. It would be as if Sasuke was trading blows with him just nonchalantly like that. It just wouldn't happen. He is a demon, so he's inherently stronger than an average human. And more so than that, he doesn't require, demons don't require anything like chakra to use their abilities or anything to that extent. They require spiritual power, yes, but it's a lot more versatile than chakra actually is. So, I mean, by virtue of his strength, a demon is inherently faster than an ordinary human. He doesn't need to use anything to speed himself up. He has more stamina than an ordinary human. He doesn't need to use anything to enhance that. Um, Again, just by virtue of being a demon, he has an advantage. And the optical abilities, again, I will give that to Sasuke because of the number of skills that he has, and his optical abilities does give him an advantage. He has more techniques than he would, so that is where I'd give Sasuke a leg up here. But that said, his Jagan can actually protect him from any a mind block, from any manipulations like that. I don't know if, does Sasuke have anything inherent that can actually block that, because his Jagan can actually control others as well, right? And so that aside, the Jagan can actually sense, it can see the slightest muscle movement or change in the air pressure. His Jagan is that precise that you could be miles and miles away, and he could spot you with precision and see your movements with precision. That is how accurate it can be. All right, so it's nothing to say, okay, oh, this is a bad matchup. It's not a bad matchup. If anything, it's a bad matchup for Sasuke. But I'm interested to see how exactly he is going to pull it off. I'm glad that they are doing matchups with anime from the 90s, though, right? I mean, the downside with it, of course, is that what the modern day animes do and what they did back then. Currently, the more current anime, the modern anime, they use visual cues to show power ups and power scales and how fast characters can move and how strong they are. And so people look at it and say, "Oh my God, look at that! It's so powerful." The older anime didn't do that. It was mostly matchups, right? Even in Yu Hakusho, it was usually one versus one, and you know how powerful the character is based on the fights, but it's not explosive, and it's not in your face, and it's not flashy. So you don't have an uh, I mean, persons who watched it back then knew. It's like, okay, we could see Sasuke going up against Hiei, and we knew how fast they were moving, but you're not seeing something. You're not seeing like an instant transmission every 5 seconds to demonstrate how fast they're moving. But we know that they're moving very fast. So I mean, things like that that modern anime does makes it easier to evaluate how strong these characters are than the older ones, and it's not something that they should ignore. But I get the feeling that they are going to ignore it. Um, there was some mention. So I mean, Sasuke's Amaterasu, his optical, his black flames, and I mean that's interesting. That's definitely something I can see posing a threat to Hiei if it could actually work. Because here's the issue, right? Hiei is top of the class when it comes to speed, right? Sasuke is not faster than Hiei is. If in no way is he faster than Hiei, and he for the black flames to be effective, he actually has to be able to see the person, and he is much faster than the blink of an eye. He can move that fast. I don't see how he would actually get caught with that. And even if he did, he is part fire demon, right? His I believe his dad was a demon. His mom was an apparition, right? And I see people keep saying he's a half demon. He's not a half demon. His mom was an apparition, not human. And so there are just a few visual cues, small things that I just think are pivotal to how the battle could actually go. But I'm pretty sure that it's just going to be thrown out the window. But it's definitely an interesting fight that I definitely want to see. And I would want, as I said, I want to see more from the older anime categories to the new ones. One of the ones I would want to see, not necessarily from Yu Hakusho again, but from Inuyasha, right? It would be a brilliant matchup. Would be Sesshomaru from Inuyasha versus Itachi from Naruto. That would be a fantastic battle, and definitely something worth seeing. So looking forward to this. Hopefully we get to see more matchups like this. And of course, my choice for the win is, again, it's going to be Hiei. I know Sasuke is going to win, but I believe Hiei should win. All right, that's it. So let's check it out. Let's start. Oh, they went with the pixelated animations again. They've been doing that a lot lately, though. This battle
where are you going?
Demanded
That's not your business.
better animation. I gotta say.
Turn back.
Alright. No small talk.
I'll end this quickly.
Nice. Should already.
No match.
Genjutsu, really? Ouch, ouch.
How interesting.
Yeah. Won't work.
What? How? Pathetic fool. I'm
It's
the
interesting
power
that they keep
fire
moving in
and
between the pixelated version.
Damn you.
Yep, it was coming. I don't know. I mean, even the Raikage was able to even crack his defense, so I don't see why it would be an issue for Hiei, to be honest. Don't get cocky.
No match.
Is it over?
I'll put you to rest now.
Come on, Hiei. I figured. What?
That's more like it. A fight fit for a demon.
Yes!
KO! Wait, really? I
Yes.
thought this was an easy win for Sasuke.
I'm so glad I
What
was
happened?
wrong.
Well, hold on. I promise there's a good explanation. This was an extremely close match. Sasuke was certainly faster than Hiei given his light speed reactions
And he
through scaling to
shouldn't be.
Naruto. And technically he went through superior training, so there's certainly a few versions of this fight where he could use those advantages to take the win.
But we're always looking for who has the best chances to win most often, not just in very specific situations.
Exactly. At first glance, it's easy to assume Sasuke's enormous and varied arsenal could have simply overwhelmed Hiei.
It's what
but
I
to our
mentioned
surprise,
before, because
Hiei
of
had
how it's
perfect
animated,
counters
it
for
seems
almost
Sasuke is
everything
powerful,
Sasuke
but
could
he's
throw
really
at him.
not.
Being a fire and ice demon hybrid with elemental resistances, he's powered through electrical attacks like the Chidori before, and his fire immunity and oneness with the darkness flame turned the devastating Amaterasu into a mere annoyance.
Sasuke's Rinnegan gave him gravity control, and that Sharingan genjutsu was pretty brutal. But Hiei's Jagan gave him telekinesis and mental protections, putting the brakes on Sasuke's eye shenanigans. Even if Sasuke tried using human path on him to rip out his soul, it wouldn't have mattered, because Hiei could keep fighting as a ghost!
And frankly, it's unlikely Sasuke was that much faster. While Hiei could outpace Lightning at C-Class, the difference between Spirit classes is far greater than a
S-Class
simple
puts
100
him
or 200%
far above
increase.
that, above
After
where
all,
he was
a lower
initially.
S-Class could beat 3 A-Class fighters without much effort,
And he
and
beat
Hiei is an
over
upper
500.
S-Class. But most surprisingly, Hiei's level of power surpassed Sasuke's.
No friggin' way!
Let's look at the
Yes, it
Susanoo's
freaking
meteor
does.
feat. By measuring the meteor's size compared to the Susanoo and applying sheer force, we determined this feat equaled about 364 teratons of TNT at most.
In scientific terms, that's a hell of a lot. And obviously, scaling to Naruto means he could take a hit worth 27 exatons. How could Hiei top that?
Well, recall how there were multiple claims that S-Class demons could obliterate the Earth. Since most fights took place in the demon world, which is much hardier than the human one, these claims were difficult to prove and seemed a little dubious.
Until Yusuke fought Yomi and they made that gigantic explosion.
As we determined earlier, that blast was at least 4.5 million meters tall. At minimum, the kinetic energy of an explosion like this would equal about 285 zetatons of TNT.
That's 21 zeros. Way more than Sasuke's meteor feat. Even if we half it because there's 2 people doing the punching, that's still over 5,000 times greater than the Naruto moon slice.
It's probably even more impressive than that. If the tree is actually closer to the clouds and therefore closer to the planet, that technically changes the shot's perspective, which would mean the tree is actually even wider, the explosion even larger, and thus the kinetic energy even greater.
So when Genkai said an S-class demon like Yusuke or Hiei could wipe out a planet, she wasn't kidding around.
No, she
Correct.
was
While
not.
Sasuke is equal to beings powerful enough to slice and shift moons, he still could not match Hiei's strength. Even if Hiei was only half as strong as Yusuke, this would still put him well above Sasuke in terms of sheer power output
Thank
and
you.
durability.
So while Sasuke was still faster, he had a real tough time trying to land a fatal blow.
There were a lot of factors in this fight, and Sasuke certainly clinched several advantages of his own. But in the end, Hiei's impeccable abilities, perfect counters, and clearly superior power took the victory.
Sasuke lost the edge and was a Sharinganer.
The winner is
I
Hiei.
see what you did there. Alright, so there we have it, and I'm so glad I'm so glad that the outcome was what that I was wrong. That I was wrong. Right? I mean it's like I said, he is a demon. I understand all the different abilities that Sasuke has that makes him appear to be so powerful. But the difference between a human and a demon is just vast. It's vast, right? And a lot of persons, listen, if you have not watched Yu Yu Hakusho, you need to go and watch Yu Yu Hakusho, because a lot of the arguments come from, are being made in a vacuum. You've never seen Yu Yu Hakusho, you've just been exposed to Naruto, so you assume that he's the more powerful because that's what you're accustomed to. But The battles in Yu Yu Hakusho are next level. Next level. And again, as I said before, age, strength, speed, stamina, in all these categories, he dominates Sasuke. Sasuke, however powerful his techniques, his optical abilities are, he is still just human. And the difference between their abilities is just too vast. It's too big, right? Whether you're a fan of Sasuke or not, that's just the reality of it. And I don't know. For Naruto, in a Naruto verse, it's easy to overlook a lot of things. As I said it before, because of our love for these characters, and oftentimes, I mentioned earlier in the video that it's usually a case where it's animation. A lot of this is really animation. It comes down to animation. It boils down to animation for a lot of this. I guarantee you that if Yu Yu Hakusho was made around the same time Naruto was, or made today, that a lot of people's perspective would be different, because it would be done differently. It would be animated differently. You'd see more destruction, and people would, by virtue, say, okay, look, I can see the difference. But back then, as I said before, back then, you see the strength, but it's not as flashy. It's not in your face. It's not as impactful, I guess, in a way. So it's difficult. It's difficult for you to see the difference in their strength, but it is there if you're paying attention. And this makes me want to go back and watch Yu Yu Hakusho. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it still holds up to this day, and it's still one of the best anime to date. It's still one of the best anime to date, right? And it's not about popularity. It's about it's about storytelling. It's about the characters. It's about, and Yu Yu Hakusho takes the cake there. I'm glad to see he actually got the win. I'm glad I was wrong, and I'm glad that they actually did research for this one. I was taken aback because I felt as though the very same thing happened with the Full Metal Alchemist versus Aang Death Battle. I didn't think Aang should have won that battle, or at the very least, it should have ended in a draw, right? And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, Aang is so powerful." Yeah, Aang is powerful because, again, the difference between when FMA was made and Avatar was made, Avatar, the visual cues and everything with air, earth, and all that makes it look as though, yeah, he's more powerful, but he's really not. And I mean, watching that video, I could tell that there were a lot of research wasn't put into it, especially since they got Ed's automail on the wrong arm. So it's like, it was very sloppy for me. And with that, I felt okay. They weren't going to do as much research for this battle either, so it was going to go the exact same way. And I'm glad that they proved me wrong. So kudos to you guys. This was you did a fantastic job here. Again, not because the person that I wanted to win won, but because it shows that they actually did the research to show that to see how strong each character actually was. And I think, and they even said it. It wasn't a clear win. It was still a very close battle, but you still have to acknowledge that the difference in a demon versus a human, the difference in their abilities, physical strength, was just way different. And I guess one of the challenges that they would have faced with this, and they mentioned it as well, is the story of Yu Yu Hakusho. While it involved Hiei, it's the focus was never really on him, right? In Naruto, we're following Naruto and Sasuke. As much as Naruto's name is in the title, it's really both their stories. In Yu Yu Hakusho, for the most part, even though we have stories with Hiei along the way, the focus is usually on Sasuke. And so we don't get to see a lot of what Hiei is capable of. And that's why in their analysis, they kind of had to use Hiei as the marker to determine how strong Hiei actually was, because a lot of times the battles and all the feats that were that they could pick up on were actually done by Yusuke and not necessarily Hiei, but that didn't make him any less powerful. right? They're the equivalent of Goku and Vegeta, right? But even then, we see more of Vegeta than we do here, because in Yu Yu Hakusho, it's really Yusuke, Kurobara, and Hiei, as well as yeah, if I'm forgetting red-haired dude's name, but it was really following 4 characters, so it was a bit difficult to give all of them equal screen time and display all their abilities in full display. So they had to kind of use Yusuke as a measuring stick to determine how strong he was. But by the end, as I said, by the Three Kings arc, he being S-class, he's significantly more powerful than he was in the first arc of the anime. And in the first arc of the anime, they showed his abilities quite a bit. But after that, we got more. There was more focus on Kurobara, on Yusuke, and all that, and Kurama. Yeah, I forget his name, but Kurama. So later on, he becomes much more powerful, and S-class demon is nothing to joke at. I hope that at some point we get to see either Sensui or Toguro fight. That would be. I don't know. So who could I don't know. Who could Toguro go up against? Somebody like All Might or something like that, right? That would be fantastic. So, like All Might versus Toguro. So, give us more the old versus the new. It'd be interesting. It makes for interesting discussions with people, and it also introduces them to some of the older characters that are not as well known right now, right? But no less significant though, right? Because all those animes lay the groundwork for the current ones. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the artist who did Yu Yu Hakusho also did Hunter x Hunter. So, I mean, if you're a fan of Hunter x Hunter, be sure to go and check out Yu Yu Hakusho. It's also fantastic. It's the better of the two, in my opinion, but both of them are still pretty good. Alright guys, be sure to post down below, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. Who did you choose to win this battle, and are you disappointed? If not, were you rooting here? Are you excited? And hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.